bidding at 2 a.m. That's why all horror movies that you'll ever see, you'll see the clock strike 2, because from 2 to 3, that's the witching hour. From midnight to 2, they have done their conjuring. They've paid demons in blood. They've done their deal with the devil. And at 2 o'clock, the devils are sent out to do their bidding and basically to deliver on the promises that were paid for in blood. So every night at 2 a.m., bam, it was on. And so we just set our alarm clocks for 1:45. You know, it happened every night. And so we still didn't know who this gal was. And my wife is very, very compassionate. And we both loved this lady, and we were committed to trying to help her. But I kept telling Cheryl, I love her, but she's lying to us. And the truth sets you free. She's not going to get free lying to us. And she keeps lying to us. So anyway, in a nutshell, this is how it happened. I had really made an agreement with some guys to go speak at a family camp for these 3 different church groups. They were all meeting together. I tried to get out of it because of what we were doing with this woman who we were calling Ramona Jarnigan at the time. But anyway, I couldn't get out of it. And so I said, well, I've got some extenuating circumstances. If you won't let me out of the camp, please give me 2 rooms on the very outskirts of the camp away from everybody, because I'll be bringing some people. So it was Cheryl and I. We brought our boys. We brought Cheryl's sister, Juanita, and her husband, who's a worship leader for us. And we brought DJ. I'll call her DJ, though at the time, all we knew her as was Ramona. So we went on this road trip. And the night before we left, we were up all night fighting against spirits of the Alini. It's actually pronounced Alini, but most people call it Alini Indian tribe because of Illinois. But the Alini Indians, they were the power brokers of North American Indian witchcraft. And the state of Illinois is named after them. And their patron spirit is the Piasa bird, also known as the firebird or the thunderbird, and always occupying the top of the totem pole everywhere in North America. All kinds of gods. The totem poles, by the way, are the structure of the demon spirits that the tribes worship, but always on the top is the Piasa bird.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because we had taken a trip to Alaska about 19, 20 years ago, and there were totem poles everywhere. And one thing they mentioned on the tour, they said people think that totem poles are demonic, but they're not. It's just a part of the culture. But what you're saying is, no, this is not a part of the, well, maybe it is part of culture, but
it's part of a culture, but it's part of a demonic culture.
Okay.
And the totem pole is the structure, the power structure of the fallen gods that they worship. Those are very powerful demonic spirits. And the top, of course, you always see the Thunderbird, right?
Always.
And then, you see some of these other spirits that we've talked about. So we were dealing with the Piasa bird, and it was intense. And I didn't know anything about it. And we were Googling the Piasa bird that night, and it was a real fight. So anyway, we left for this trip. We all packed up in a van. We're going down the highway, and every 50 miles, we were pulling over off the highway and trying to fight with these demons, right? And so I was getting increasingly frustrated. And I had told my wife, I said, Cheryl, I love her, but we cannot help her if she's not honest with us. And I know she's lying about some of this stuff. And she was still saying, oh, I dabbled with witchcraft. It's like, no, we're way past dabbling. So anyway, we still didn't know who she was. And, but I knew whatever she was into, it was high level witchcraft and I suspected Satanism, but anyway, high level. And we were green and just learning at the time and asking God for mercy. But we left on this trip and we're exhausted. And every time we pull over, we're getting further behind. And we had just headed into Nevada. And I told everybody in the car, remember, it's a van full of people, right? It's our three boys and Dwayne and Juanita. And I told everybody, I said, hey, we are late and I am the keynote speaker. So Nevada very rarely gives out speeding tickets. So I'm going to punch this thing clear down to the metal and see how fast we can go because we have to make up time. So hold on to your butts. This is going to be a wild ride. So anyway, I was doing about 120 in this Chevy van. And I saw a sign that said Winnemucca Indian Nation's 10 miles. And when I saw the sign, the Holy Spirit just quickened me like, like a lightning bolt, like, uh-oh, that ain't good. And I thought to myself, oh, I'm just thinking because it's this Indian spirit that we're fighting, and it probably has nothing to do with this Indian tribe. And anyway, when you're going 120 miles an hour, 10 miles goes by pretty quick. And so anyway, I was looking over, everybody's asleep, and Ramona, she's nearly unconscious because very difficult to go through these kind of deliverances. She's just there, sound asleep, buckled in. And so I saw this sign, welcome to Winnemucca Indian Nation. And we hit that sign doing 120 miles an hour. We went right past that sign onto the reservation. And when we did, all of the doors on the van opened up and the seatbelt, everybody's seatbelt came loose. And a spirit tried to throw Ramona out on the highway doing 120 miles an hour. And fortunately, she's a little gal. And she was just going out, and I grabbed her arm, and I'm trying to pull her back in the van, and she's totally under the power of a demon. And I'm trying to stop. The van is swerving. It's big time crazy. Everybody's waking up. The kids are screaming, and I get her pulled in like this, and I'm nearly stopped. And she reached under my seat, and I had a loaded 9mm pistol under my seat. She comes up with that. So I switch hands, and now I'm wrestling with her with the gun in the hand. And we finally got stopped. I got the gun out of her hand. Though I try to stay even keel, I was PO'd. And so.
Wait, Dave, sorry, real quick. I know you were PO'd, but did the doors open by itself and did the seatbelts unbuckle by itself?
All by them. Well, it was demonic. It was super.
Oh, demonic, yeah. But it wasn't anybody in the car doing it.
No people involved. Okay. She was still sound asleep when this thing tried to throw her out the van. Gosh. But anyway, by the time I got her in, the spirit had come into her and was manifesting through her. So I got stopped, and I said, "Who the hell are you?" He said, "I'm the power spirit of the Winnemucca Indian Nation." I said, "What are you doing in Ramona?" He said, "Oh, you're so stupid." He said, you mortals, you don't know anything. And I said, "Okay, well, help me. What's going on?" He said, "She's marked with the blood of a virgin sacrifice, which gives me the right to kill her." And I said, "You could look at her and tell she's marked with the blood of a virgin sacrifice." He said, "Oh, you mortals are so blind." He said, I've been watching you coming for many, many, many miles. And I said, "Okay, so you tried to kill her." He said, "I have a right to kill her." I said, "But my point is, you tried and it didn't work." He said, "Oh, I can kill her." And I said, you tried. It didn't work. You tried to kill her. You tried to throw her out. It didn't work. So I said, "I am late for an appointment. I don't know anything about the Winnemucca Indian Nation. And I have no idea what you're talking about blood sacrifice. But I do know this. If it weren't for the power of Jesus Christ, you would have just killed her and maybe my whole family. So I said, if you're the power spirit of this whole Indian nation, I said, looks like to me you wouldn't want to have this kind of encounter, because what you did just now with all of the spirits watching was an epic fail. You tried to kill her and you failed. And he's ranting and raving, oh, I can kill her. I said, no, I don't think you can. I think you tried and you failed. So I said, why don't you just leave and I'll take her off your reservation? And he said, if you ever bring her back, I'll kill her. I said, I'm not going to ever bring her back. I said, just leave. You won't have to go through the embarrassment of being defeated in front of all the demons that are watching. And I won't have to rebuke you for the next few hours. And he said, if you ever bring her back, I'll kill her. I said, I'm not going to bring her back. He said, I'll go. Suddenly, she came to her senses and said, what happened? And I said, well, we're going to talk about what happened, but not till we get off this Indian reservation. So I drove 120 miles an hour to the other side of the Indian reservation. And she knew that I didn't tell her anything that had happened, but she knew I was angry. And she said, Dad, you're angry. I said, yep, I'm angry. We'll talk about it when we get off the reservation. We got to the other side. I asked her to get out. She said, are you leaving me here? I said, I haven't decided yet. But let me tell you where we're at. We have been fighting demons every night since you moved into our house. From 2 o'clock, oftentimes until daybreak. And you have lied to us over and over and again. She said, I'm not lying. I said, you are lying. Don't tell me ever again that you dabbled in witchcraft. I know that's a lie. You don't get this kind of problems dabbling in witchcraft. Well, I got in a little deeper. I said, okay, listen, I still don't know who you are and what you've been through, but my entire family almost died because you are marked with the blood of a virgin sacrifice. And when I said that, she fell on her knees and just started weeping with her face in her hands and saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I said, okay, I get you're sorry. But here's the thing, Ramona. Truth sets you free. If you keep lying to us, you will never get free. And that's why if you don't tell the truth from this day forward, I am not letting you back in the van and I am not bringing you back to our house. I want to know the truth. And she's just sobbing. And she said, if I do tell you the truth, will you promise that you won't kick me out of your family? And I said, that's fair. She said, no matter how bad it is. I said, I'll promise you this. If you will tell the truth, we will go to hell and back fighting for you, and we will never give up on you. That's when she said, my name is not Ramona Jarnigan. My name is Ray LeVay. And my father is Anton LeVay. And the blood sacrifice was my little sister, Delina Starr. And she said, I didn't want to do it. Anton made me do it. He put my hands on the knife and made me cut the heart out of my little sister. And she was just sobbing and sobbing. And she said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Will God ever forgive me? Can God ever forgive me? And I said, God can forgive anything. You were, how old were you? She said, I was a little girl. And I said, God can forgive you for anything. But what happened to you as a little girl is not your fault. And I said, is there anything else you've been lying about? You ready for this? I don't know if you're ready for this.
I'm ready.
She said, I wasn't in a car accident. And I said, okay, what happened to you? She said, my daughter tried to beat me to death with a bat and threw my body in the river. And God saved me. She said, I saw the angels come and take me out of the river.
Whoa. Oh, okay. Now you blew. So you were with her daughter in a clear cage. That's wild. The
Totally wild.
connections.
I
Wow.
said, I said, your daughter tried to beat you to death with a bat and threw you in a river. She said, yeah. She said she was part of the coven and she was trying to get my power. I says, does she happen to be a vampire? She said, yeah. How do you know that? I said, got tossed in a cage with her in juvenile hall. And I thought, wow, only God can set up a story like that. It
Whoa.
was unbelievable. And she said, yeah, please pray for her. They're trying her for aggravated murder. And I said, I got the whole story while we were in the cage together. I said, anyway, I want you to be completely honest from here on out. And she said, okay. But Anton will want to kill you now that you know who he is and what's going on. And she said, I've been involved in some really, really dark things that happened on Halloween night. And I said, like what? I said, like satanic ritual abuse. She said, well, yeah, but like advanced level satanic ritual abuse. And she said, I'm supposed to do this ritual on Halloween Eve, and it's really evil, and I don't want to do it. And I said, what is the ritual? She said, you wouldn't understand. It's called the Bride of Satan ceremony. And I said, oh, so you've already been through the other 6? She said, how do you know about the other 6? I said, oh, this prophet from Borneo told me I was supposed to read this book. He didn't know why, but he says, God needs you to read this book for what you're going to be doing. And the whole thing was just surreal in terms of the amazing grace of God to bring situations together and tie everything together. And now we're by the side of the road, and suddenly the little girl in the cage, suddenly it made sense. And